Welcome back to the Full-Time Ultras, and we've got a really special episode lined up for you guys. We're looking at the January transfer window, and we're going to analyze the top clubs in the Premier League, and we're going to dive into what they might possibly do in the January transfer window. We're going to look at some options and players that our clubs might look to sign. We're going to keep it a little bit realistic. And joining us on the show today is the regular guys on the panel over here. We've got Aditya.
Hi.
Depressed after yesterday, definitely. We're not going to get into that, but your face shows. How are you, Raghav?
I'm fine, man.
Excited to discuss transfer rumors.
I mean, जो क्लब के पास पैसा नहीं वो क्या करेगा?
Yeah, loans karega, loans, udhari. Anyway, I think we should straight away dive into Manchester United, our club. I'll start straight away with you. Like you said, no money to spend. They will be mostly restricted to loans, right? Long night for him. He's yawning. I can see it. They'll mostly be restricted to loans. What do you see United doing this summer?
पहले तो भगवान की दुआ चाहिए. जो I mean, the league position that we are in, it's horrible. But I don't think we need much in terms of personnel coming in, based on the fact that we have many players coming back from injury. So the first half of the season we were unlucky because we were restricted by a fact that there were so many injuries and there were no replacements that we could bring in. But in this January window, I would go for a right winger. Ideally, I would want a right winger because Antony is obviously not working in the system. Garnacho is playing well when he's put on the right wing, but I don't think he's a long-term solution in that wing. And Sancho is obviously gone. Sancho has gone to Dortmund. But I would go for a right winger. I would go for a DM because for cover for Casemiro. Casemiro and Menu is there, but I don't know. I would go for a DM and a centre back. Centre back, ideally, I would go for one as well. But apart from that, I don't think we are covered on positions. But once we have players back, so yeah, that's my take on your Manchester United.
But considering you're saying that we'd go for these positions with no money, where are you going to get 3 loans for these positions?
You asked me what are the positions you would like to work on?
Yeah, but I'm also trying. I also said that we're going to be realistic over here because
I had one.
I could say the whole squad needs cleansing, but
I was going to say that was going to be a first comment. Pura squad bhej do.
Okay.
But realistically speaking, I don't know, man. United hands are tied due to the financial restrictions. But if we have money, then I would go for Kubo, Takefuso Kubo, who plays at Sociedad.
That's a shock.
Why?
I mean, I'm surprised of all people you've gone for him, but okay, go on.
No, he's actually doing well at Sociedad.
Yeah.
He's a Madrid product.
Yeah.
He was at Madrid. He's gone to Sociedad, and we've been tracking him. But I would go for Kubo on the right wing as centre back. Inacio, we've been discussing. We'll further discuss it. Inacio is a good prospect because he's a left-footed centre back. We've always been crying out for one.
The centre back though definitely has to be Todibo. It's
Sorry?
not going to be Inacio. It's going to be Todibo.
Todibo in-house transfer ho jayega.
Nah, it is. I feel it is going to be Todibo. If we are signing a centre back, and for me, I think coming back to like what I feel is that I feel that there will only be cash signings if we can let players go. If we can sell players.
Yeah.
So there's a big lobby of our club trying to like go to Saudi Arabia and try to offload the likes of Casemiro and
there's Martial rumors as well.
Martial is staying.
Till the summer?
He's staying till the summer because
They're extending his contract, no?
No, they are not extending.
They're not extending. Ten Hag said they're extending or something?
No. Yeah, that's like he has to say that we are negotiating.
Media
I don't think there's no way. Like I'll stop watching football if they give him a 3 or 4 year contract. But I think if Varane is moved, I don't think Varane will be moved out. But if an offer comes, I can see Varane leaving.
If we sell players, then of course I can see us going after Todibo. Inacio, I would actually go for Inacio, man, over Todibo because we have right-footed centre backs. But I would really love to have a left-footed centre back in the squad alongside Lisandro. another left-footed centre back would ideally something I would want to have in a squad, because if at all something happens to Lisandro, we look a little shaky in that defense, the way Ten Hag wants to play. He's not able to implement that. Apart from that, if we can sell, maybe who is worth selling in this shitty squad?
The only people we can get money from right now is Varane and Casemiro. So that's the thing. So that depends on whether they can be moved. So that's why I don't think so. There will be cash signings. What I would have really liked to see was Martial moved on for like 5 to 10 million, whatever. And I would have really liked for us to have taken a punt on Guirassy from Stuttgart. I think we need a striker, definitely, because I think there's too much pressure on Højlund to play up front. Rashford offers nothing centrally, and Martial is just not there in the squad. You cannot depend on Martial. So I think there's too much pressure on Højlund. There's no one to like share his burden, and I think Guirassy has a perfect age profile of like 27 to like come in, and because he knows it's his last contract as well. So even it's a 17.5 million euro release clause. So even if that does not work out, it's just a 17.5 million euro deal. It's in today's transfers, like what we see in the Premier League, it's peanuts for the top clubs. If it goes well, if he can like chip in with like 10 goals till the end of the season, it's a massive hit. So I think if we can somehow manage to like get 15 to 17 million there, and we can obviously he's at the African Cup of Nations, so he can only be available in Feb. But if we can get him in, I think it will be really helpful, and it will add a little bit of goals up front, because he's been fantastic in the Bundesliga.
Oh, do you think we should sell McTominay? He won't be sold, but
youth products, I don't think it's there. But for me,
I mean that's like pure profit.
Yeah, exactly. That's one
pure
of the
profit.
They're the most sellable assets.
But there's
if you ask me,
something with McTominay that I don't know what managers see in him. And it's not only Ten Hag. It's
since Mourinho.
It's been Mourinho. It's been Ole. It's been Ranić. Maybe he's dependable, but he's not quality. So that we'll have to see what happens in the summer. But McTominay is not going anywhere in Jan, definitely. So I feel realistically, I can only see like, I don't know if we'll be able to, like, I would love to have Guirassy in the team.
But if not him, like, whom do you get in? And especially considering, the loan deals aspect, whom do you get in? Like,
I don't know, because that's the thing. For me, I thought it was going to be Werner.
Yeah.
But considering how my shitty club works, is that there's going to be like, they're going to wait. They're going to analyze. They're going to see what they're going to get till the end.
Yeah.
And they're going to wait till the last minute of the transfer window. And then they're going to be like, they're going to find like a Wout Weghorst or something like that. From somewhere, they're going to find a deal like that.
There's talk about Choupo-Moting as well. How's that?
Choupo-Moting is not going to happen, because he's in his final 6 months of his contract.
Right, yeah.
And then he cannot be signed because the contract's over. So Bayern would rather keep him for that tenure. One signing I could see at the moment, because I don't know what could happen like in the coming 20 days. I could see Daniel Malen from Borussia Dortmund, because he shares the same agency as Ten Hag.
Yeah.
And Dortmund also want to send him on loan because it's not been working for them. And they've signed Sancho. So there's more competition for him.
There was, while the Sancho thing was going on, there was talk of a swap. Like for Malen for Sancho.
But it's not officially a swap, but it could happen towards the end. Because that's what I think. I think that will be the fallback option. United will scan the market.
Sorry to interrupt, but what's his position?
He can play anywhere in the front line.
Yeah,
he's like a Werner.
Yeah, he's not like a proper out and out striker. He's one of those, like, he's smaller, he's fast, like he's one of those guys. So like a Werner, basically.
That's what I can see realistically United doing. I don't see there's going to be, especially with Ineos coming in, I don't think they will want a lot of transfer business to be handled by the Glazers in Jan. So I definitely don't see, just to conclude on United, we definitely do not see any much happenings coming around. Maybe a loan or two. Definitely in an attacking position with Sancho leaving potentially, and Pelestri also might go out. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see with United. We'll next move on to Arsenal. And we've got our resident Arsenal fan all the way from Bangkok, Raghu, to give his thoughts on what Arsenal needs to do in this January transfer window. So let's take a look at what he has to say.
Let's talk Arsenal and let's talk about the January transfer window. As we move into this new year in 2024 and move into the January transfer window, we find ourselves in a disturbing and horrendous position after a horrible run of play in the past few weeks, and especially over the Christmas period. Ahead of our next game in the Premier League, which is with Crystal Palace, we find ourselves currently in the fourth spot, a position that we're probably, as Arsenal fans, familiar with. But more importantly, there's been a lot of buzz and talk around we still needing more reinforcements and key players in positions that are crucial to Arteta's game plan. So let's take a quick look at who those players could be and what those positions are, where we might see players come in and signings happen. But two key points to keep in mind why this might not be a high-spending January transfer window for Arsenal is because, one, the FFP rules are now even more scary. We've seen Everton get a point deduction, which means all clubs are now going to be vigilant, and that also means after having spent around £200 million plus in the summer transfer window, we might not have a lot of budget to spare, and we might not make a lot of reactive long-term purchases. Instead, we might opt for loan deals to see us through till the end of the season and turn the tide in the Premier League. Now, that is one reason to keep in mind. The other one is also, if you look at the past three transfer windows of Arsenal, except the previous January transfer window, where we had a net positive spend of around £60 million, we saw Jorginho, Trossard come in. We haven't had a very high spending January transfer window previously, except for the previous season. So net spend has really been zero. It's only the previous January transfer window where we had a positive net spend to the tune of £60 million. Now, keeping these two things in mind, it might not be a high spending transfer window. But that being said, let's look at two key positions and a few players in each of these to see how this might span out. Right. The first position I'd like to talk about is, of course, the left back position. There's been a lot of a lot of back and forth and a lot of debates on this, but my bet is that we might benefit from having a young left back option again to see us through the season if there are unforeseen injuries. And we are seeing Timber come back after a horrendous injury that he faced and a shaky start to his Arsenal career. But this has exposed our vulnerabilities in key positions. Taking nothing away from Zinchenko, we do need positive enforcements in the left back position so that we have Tomiyasu and White focus on that right back position, and we have a stronger depth in the defense line overall. So from that lens, a player that comes to mind is Jarell Hato, who's currently playing for Ajax. He will be an interesting watch. There have been rumors linking us with Jarell Hato, and it'll be exciting to see how that spans out. Now, moving to the second position, where again we recently saw chanting in the stadium for screaming for us to sign a striker, and I did also like how Arteta responded to it in the conference as well. But and 100% backing the manager on that as fans we need to back all our players and the team as we go along, and that includes even in the tough times. But three key players to watch who could be an interesting fit for Arsenal. First is Pedro Neto, who's currently playing for Wolves, having a price tag of about £45 million. Will be a very, very exciting watch, and I'll also go on to say that he is my pick. I would predict for him to join us. Be it a loan deal or a permanent transfer remains to be seen how that spans out, but I'd love to watch Pedro Neto. The reason why is because of how multifaceted he is as a player, and Arteta has been a fan of players who can play in multiple positions. He has also trained players to play in positions where they weren't originally comfortable playing. And Pedro Neto, while he's a right winger on the books, he has gotten into those key scoring positions as a striker for Wolves and done the job. And I'd love to watch him at Arsenal finish those chances created by our strong midfield. Another player is Ivan Toney. He has been a popular pick. He currently faces suspensions from all competitions, but he's going to be back available for Brentford. And he would be an interesting match for Arsenal in this January transfer window. So let's see how that goes. But lastly is also Santiago Gimenez, a player of Mexican who's playing for the Mexican side in the national team, but would also be interesting to see if he can be a good mix. We have been again linked with him. There have been multiple rumors linking us to him. He's currently playing for the Dutch club Feyenoord, but let's see how that progresses moving into the January transfer window. Hopefully some exciting signings happening, probably some loan deals, but to be very realistic, I do also see that we might not have very high spending one.
And that's what Raghu thought about his Arsenal. He had lots to say.
Yeah.
I doubt Arsenal are going to do that much business.
Yeah,
but
this is like a summer window.
It's like a summer window is what he planned. But we could... that's what he wanted. But he's also been realistic. He's also given us facts and figures as to what he would expect would happen. What do you take from what Raghu has said in the video?
Yeah, I mean, like let's just start with the elephant in the room. Ivan Toney. I mean, they really need a striker.
Yeah.
Since Christmas, they've had like 63 shots. They scored 1 goal from it. That 2-0 loss to Liverpool over the weekend. I mean, that kind of sums up their problems, I feel, because they had so many chances, they didn't take it. And I think Alan Shearer wrote a piece in The Athletic about how it's not about bad luck. It's not just bad luck. It is just poor decision making in and around that, in that penalty box, where you are taking too much time or taking too many touches. You don't have that clinical striker. And I mentioned this on the last podcast as well. So I think Ivan Toney is probably their most realistic option.
It's going to be a very difficult deal to do.
Yeah, of course. And they'll have to shell, again, like he mentioned, the
figures spoken about 80-90 million they're saying right now. So,
yeah. Do Arsenal have that much money to spend after they've spent so much in the summer?
With FFP restrictions severe right now.
We don't know. But if they want to stay in the title race, I think they need to sign a striker. And like Toney seems to be at the top of most people's list, but Arsenal especially. So like I don't see any way past them not signing a striker.
I don't think that of course Arsenal will need a striker, but I don't think they'll get that they're gonna get anything in this window, because losing such a hype, the profile of player that Arsenal is looking for, the main man, the target guy, a man who can.
There are not many strikers out there actually.
Firstly, there are no strikers out there.
Yeah.
But the ones available, I don't think they'll be available. Firstly, for a very cheap rate or a moderate rate, they'll have to overpay for a striker, which I don't feel is possible for Arsenal and is necessary for Arsenal. First of all, Arteta needs to figure out how he's gonna stay in this title race, because Arsenal need to. I don't know, man. For me, Arsenal don't need to do anything in this window. A strike. If you take out the Ivan Toney and the striker thing, if they can figure out a way to get the best out of Jesus, the Nelsons, the Nketiahs, and the Havertz, apart from the Martinelli and Saka threat that they have, I think they'll be good till the end of the season.
But there's something wrong with Arteta and Nketiah, because in that game where Arsenal were struggling for goals, and it was clearly not working for Havertz up front. It was pretty visible that the guy was not getting anything from the game, and it was a piece of cake for Liverpool in terms of defending. And Nketiah just didn't even enter the pitch. So there's definitely something wrong out there, right? Because Havertz is actually not even a number 9, right? So you're looking for a number 9. You have 2 players up there. You have Nketiah with the number 14, which is such a big number in Arsenal.
Yeah,
just sitting on the bench and not even getting a minute. So there's definitely something wrong over there.
There seems to, I mean, I don't know about the beefs and the disputes going on in the Arsenal squad and the team, but I don't know, because if you're asking for my personal opinion, Arsenal don't need a striker that urgently, because they can wait till the summer to splash big. like 100 million on a Osimhen on a or something like
Or
that.
Tony as well.
Or Tony as well.
Hmm.
But right now, then Arteta needs to work on his tactics more than the transfer window. He needs to
Get the best out
get
of
the best out of
Jesus.
what he has, and
Yeah.
I think that's what he said in the press conference after the FA Cup defeat. That don't boo us, don't support, get behind the strikers that we have during the tough periods because they are good strikers.
Because the XG hasn't been bad. They just need to convert.
Yeah,
They
but
just
like
need to
then
finish.
that's the thing. No, like I wouldn't say they're good strikers. I think they're good players, but they're not like
They're not prolific.
exactly. They're not the type of clinical strikers. Like, so if you want to wait till the summer to do business, then you're effectively foregoing, this season basically, because Liverpool have Salah who can get those goals. City have Haaland, obviously. You
Arsenal have Martinelli and Saka.
No, they're nowhere near as.
But they are not but they are wide men in the end.
And
Right?
also,
They are not going to have like 25 goal seasons.
Their
That's what
numbers
he's
are
trying
not
to
the
say.
same as, like, I know they're really good players. I rate them very highly as players, but they won't give you
And it
what
just
Salah
puts
and
more
Haaland give you.
pressure on them, is what I feel.
But
so
I'll just reiterate what I said. The two factors that there are no strikers here.
available in the window.
We're just talking about one and another player that Raghu has mentioned, Pedro Neto. I don't think Neto will
He's
fit this
also a
Arsenal
wide
team.
man.
He's a wide man,
Yeah.
and he's very similar to what Trossard does in this
Yeah,
team.
that's true.
He's very similar to what Trossard does. So I don't think Pedro Neto will fit this team. It'll just be an overload of the same profile of players. It'll be like Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, Neto. Everybody in the same team won't fit well. But I don't know, man. I don't think Arsenal need that.
You think they should stick till the summer?
Yeah, they should stick to this team till the summer, and Arteta needs to get his head right and not play Havertz as a 9. He needs to play Nketiah. He needs to play Jesus there and stick to the team.
Just quickly, Aditya, to wrap up on what Raghu said, talking about a left back,
Yeah.
because they've been struggling with Zinchenko
Yeah.
out. Timber has to come back. Maybe
Yes.
Timber could play there. Do you
Yeah.
think they should dip into the market to look for a left back?
No, I think, like, if you
Or
have
strikers are more. Also
yeah,
an
I think
urgency.
they need a striker more than they need a left back, because if you have a player who's coming back from injury, who can play that position, it's best not to dip into someone, especially who will threaten that position. They don't have a clinical goal scorer, so I feel like that is a more pressing need for them than a left back.
Anyway, we'll have to see what Arsenal do as well. I think they definitely need goals up front. They have to maybe find something out there. If they cannot spend 80 million on a Tony, maybe a cheap viable option, maybe a loan, but someone who can get the pressure off Saka and Martinelli. So we'll have to see what Arsenal do. We'll next move on to their North London competition in Tottenham. They've been really busy already. 2 signings secured. They've got Timo Werner in, and they've got Radu Dragusin from Genoa. They beat Bayern Munich to get that signature.
Yeah.
They've
The
been
statement's really funny.
swift in the transfer window.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Werner, your former player?
Yeah, I like him. I think he'll really help in stretching those defenses, because what he offers is a lot of pace in behind. And even at Chelsea, he got into a lot of very good positions. Maybe the timing of his runs were a bit suspect, because I remember he scored a lot of goals that were like offside by those very minute decisions. I mean, he was very unlucky in that sense as well. But otherwise, he got into very good positions. His confidence did dip as his finishing was not up to the mark. Like, you could see that it was very visible. But just that pace, he will offer a lot in terms of stretching defenses and creating holes for other players to play in. And I think the player who will benefit most is Maddison, who basically, when Werner stretches that defense, that hole will open up in between defense and midfield, and Maddison just loves to operate in that area. So I think Maddison's the one who's going to benefit the most, and other players like Son, who will come back after.
Son will get more space as
Exactly. Like,
On the left.
He's in many ways the perfect decoy, because his runs are really good, and obviously at that level you can't really afford to be like, oh, he's Werner, we can just leave him, because you have to follow him, and that will afford space for other players to operate. And I think that's the main thing. And also, it's very funny that in a sense that is that type of player who would work really well against Spurs highline. So
Oh.
in a way,
Yeah.
they basically got someone who would work very well against
He's
them.
a good
Just-
presser as well.
Yeah, he is. He's very selfless, and like I don't think apart from his finishing, anyone who supported Chelsea had anything bad to say about him. Like he's really humble, down to earth. He works for the team. He stark contrast to what we had when the whole Lukaku situation was going on. But he's like I genuinely like him, and I do hope that he succeeds. Not too much because it's Spurs, but yeah.
They've definitely had issues at centre back. The Dyer didn't feature. There were times where Emerson and Ben Davies, two full-backs playing as centre backs. Romero has also been red cards plus injuries, so they had to dip into the market. They've signed Radu Dragusin from Genoa. Good, promising defender. They definitely needed something in defense, right?
Yeah, of course. I think that Spurs have done what they needed in this transfer window. They've already finished off their business in the first 10 days. They needed a centre back because their best two centre backs, like Van de Ven and Romero, they basically had only two centre backs, and Dyer was out of Postecoglou's plans.
And he's now leaving as well.
He's now leaving.
Yeah.
And secondly, they needed another forward. They've got it in Werner mainly because Son has gone to the Asian
And
Cup.
also Veli's got injured.
Yeah, Veli's got injured, so
Yes.
they needed another forward. But I feel that they need another midfielder.
Okay.
Ideally, I would go for a solid cover midfielder for Maddison or another midfielder for Bissouma, Sarr and Maddison, their regular midfield. Because when Maddison got injured, they were like...
Lo Celso couldn't
do that.
Yeah.
Bentancur, I don't know.
Bentancur is a little bit more
he's
box to box, yeah.
He's
You
a
mean
little
that
box to box.
creative
That
tennis?
they don't have that creative force.
Yeah.
Son had to take up that responsibility when Maddison was out. He did that for a while, then on off. Then now he's off to the Asian Cup. So Maddison is when he'll be back. It's
Lots of
there's
pressure.
no.
I
So
think
I
that
would
will
go
be
for
more
another
of a
midfielder
summer move. But if they can get something on the steel,
on a
then-
loan maybe, or a steal deal or
Yeah.
something like that. So
because
apart from that, they covered.
Dragusin was a very good steal. They
Yeah.
got
Who?
him hardly.
Dragusin.
Dragusin, yeah.
They've got
No, I
him
think
for
apart
what?
from that, they've
30 million with add-ons, 30 million
Yeah.
euros.
Yeah.
So
Apart from that, they've done their business.
I think they've been pretty sorted, right?
Yeah, they're done
Yeah.
for business.
Yeah. So do you think they need any other place to strengthen?
No,
Or
I mean,
they're done?
as he said, like just the midfield. It would be nice to have cover, especially since they have players. I mean, Maddison was injured, and they have players going to AFCON. But yeah, I mean, I think they've done really well. They've acted first, and they've acted well.
They've got
think
their target set. Yeah.
Spurs is the worst hit team by AFCON and Asian Cup because
One of the worst.
yeah,
Yeah, one of the worst.
Bissouma and
The
Sarr both
entire
are gone,
midfielders,
and their
Son.
captain is gone.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how they do. They've acted like the guys have said over here. They've acted fast, and they have a big challenge, especially in January, with many players missing through international duty. We'll move on to the next team on the list. We'll talk about Liverpool, and we've got our resident Liverpool expert Sean to give his thoughts on what he thinks his club needs to do in January.
For Liverpool, I think this season has been good, but also really tricky now given the injuries that we have. So we might have to dip into the January market and sign someone. My first priority, I think, as a fan, would probably be defense. We've lost Matip for the entire season, and Robbo, Tsimikas, and Trent have also had injuries of some kind. So that's left us with Joe Gomez covering all the positions, left back, centre back, right back, and some youngsters coming in. So Kwanzaa has had a great breakthrough season. He's been phenomenal. But I feel like investing in a defender of some kind will be really important, either at centre back or right back. Centre back because we've lost Matip for the season, and I think we need another good, maybe young centre back. So in my head, someone like Inacio from Sporting Lisbon, who is very young, 22 if I'm not mistaken, and is a left-footed centre back, which is different to any of our other centre backs. So that could offer another passing angle. And there's been talk about that on football Twitter. So that could be very interesting. And he can play left centre back and he can play left back as well. So that's versatility is always something Klopp's really like. And someone at right back, I mean, the dream would be someone like Frimpong from Bayer. But he's being quoted by, I think, a lot of clubs. And I don't think he's going to leave Bayer given the season they're having. They have a chance to win the Bundesliga, maybe the Europa. I don't see him leaving the club in January or the club selling him. But he'd be such a great addition to the Liverpool team because he can plop into the side, maybe mid-game, and Trent can shift into midfield, and that can change our dimension of attack. So that would be really, really cool. Yeah. And then moving on, I think the only other signing we need to do after the shit show of last season, I'm really happy with midfield and like the midfield upheaval we've had in the summer. But our attack's really good as well. But there's only one position I think that we need covering, and that would be right wing where Salah plays. And he's gone for AFCON now. He's going to be a massive miss for us this season, but I hope he goes on and wins AFCON. But yeah, so cover for right wing is crucial because A, Salah's gone for a month, and B, we don't have any other really direct right wing replacement. Like there's Harvey Elliott who can play in that position and is really good, but I feel like he doesn't have the same profile as like a high octane winger. So someone like Olise from Crystal Palace, who we've been linked with, I feel would be a really great fit because he's young, he has pace, he's direct, and throwing that option, allowing Salah to rest a few games, maybe Salah drifting centrally in the game, all those different combinations, and I feel like a winger like Olise is it'll take us back to like heavy metal football, like where Klopp used to play.
One definite hole that Liverpool need to fill up is definitely centre back with Matip. Matip's season done. Sean brought up an interest. They haven't been linked with anyone as such, but Liverpool are a club that just they are linked with a player on Friday morning, and then by Friday night they sign him. So Liverpool are really quick. But an interesting name that Sean has put forward is Goncalo Inacio from Sporting. We've been like you've said that we've been linked with him. What do you make of him as a player? You think is someone who could add to Liverpool?
Oh yeah, of course. Because there's something about Liverpool and stealing United targets in January.
And in the summer as well.
And
We were behind Darwin.
Oh yeah, Darwin, Gakpo,
Dodged a bullet.
both of them.
Gakpo's done.
Dodged a bullet. Yeah, but I would Inacio. First of all, he's a left-footed centre back. For me, that's a big plus that Liverpool would get. Him and Van Dijk in the same team. I think
it could be a good combination.
It'll be a good combination. The left foot, right foot, and he could. He's a really good player actually. He's been a regular for Portugal as well.
Yeah, he's getting into the team. Yeah,
he's getting into the team. He's playing there.
And plus, he's one of those players that has a release clause.
It's a 60 million release clause.
Yeah.
So for a defender in this market, 60 million, it's a fair deal.
It's an option to get a player because normally clubs are so adamant. Aditya and Jan, you had it with Enzo last year. He had a release clause, but still they were so adamant that they don't want to sell their assets, right? And they want to keep them because main players, their fortunes depend on them whether they get Europe. But having a release clause, players who have release clause, it makes it interesting for clubs to go and pursue them.
Yeah.
So that adds a little bit to Liverpool, Inacio.
Yeah, I mean they might as well go and get him now because as you said, they do have issues in that area. I mean, now who's playing there? Konza is playing there on occasion.
There, yes.
Joe Gomez is.
Konate is there.
Yeah, Konate is there.
Kwanzaa?
And
Kwanzaa.
Yeah, not Konza.
Not
Oh,
as
sorry.
Konza.
Yeah, sorry.
And I mean Joe Gomez deputizes on the left.
And just to make sure, it's not going to be Inacio. Inacio is just a name we are.
Of course.
We are generalizing a defender around. It could be anyone who would be.
Yeah, it would be nice for them to go and get, like, for their own sakes, obviously. Would be nice for them to go and get someone just to provide that cover, because we've seen. I think it was the 2021 season where, like, they lost, like, Van Dijk and then Matip and Gomez, and then they were playing Fabinho and Henderson as their centre backs.
Yeah.
So it would be nice for them to like it just get that cover, especially since they're now
And the signing that they make will also be a move that it's not like a short-term fix.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
a long-term
exactly.
thing, because Matip is out of his contract, right? So we don't know whether they're going to renew it.
Yeah.
And even if they do renew it, he's towards on his last legs at the moment.
Even Van Dijk's quite getting old.
So maybe if they are looking at recruiting, they'll definitely buy a centre back in the summer.
Yeah.
They could like prepone it, and it could add to their title fight as well.
Yeah,
so it makes sense for them to definitely get a centre back. Another interesting thought that Sean had put forward was a right back.
Yeah.
Now we've had our qualms about Trent Alexander-Arnold as a right back. He's proved a lot of people, including me, a little bit wrong. He's had a fantastic season as of now. Shame he got injured.
Yeah.
In an FPL point, obviously. Yeah, not as a fan. But Sean was talking about getting in a right back, because that enables him Trent to push forward. And one particular name Sean has brought forward is Jeremy Frimpong, who's been having a fantastic season. His stats have been like what attackers have not had, like double figure assists and 8 or 9 goals already playing as a wing back. Do you see Liverpool like potentially not only in Jan but in the summer going for a right back?
Yeah, I'm actually. I thought they should have done that last summer. In fact, because of what you just said, it would allow Trent to play in midfield, and Trent does really well in midfield. Frimpong in particular, I don't see that happening this window.
In Jan, considering where Leverkusen.
Yeah, exactly, and like they're flying, and I don't even know if he'll want to leave in the summer, unless Xabi Alonso does end up coming to Liverpool in the summer.
Which I don't think Klopp is going. I'm sorry to quash your hopes, but
yeah,
I hope Klopp leaves, but he's not.
I mean, let's see. I mean, I don't know. That we'll see in the
Man's
summer.
wearing a Germany jersey, please.
Facts.
It's the one thing that probably every German wants. But anyway, yeah, I think a right back should be on their agenda. I was surprised that they didn't get one in the summer. I don't see them. I don't know if they'll get one in this window. But losing Trent is a big loss. Like, it's not because they don't have any cover in that right back position.
He's such a creative force.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think the only player who can play there is, as I said, Gomez. But you wouldn't. Gomez is a solid option. He's not like you wouldn't want him as your starting right back in a title challenging season.
Exactly.
So I would like them to strengthen that position. I know, but I don't see it happening. There's no one really available.
Yeah.
That's the only issue with the Jan window. There's no one. There's hardly anyone available.
I think a centre back would be the best possible option. Raghav, Sean has spoken about. We've urged Sean to speak about one particular individual. It's Mr. Kylian Mbappe. There are a lot of rumors floating around, saying that Mbappe is not happy with Real Madrid. That they didn't move for him. And he wants to move to the Premier League, and now Liverpool have suddenly been touted as a destination. Sean has been pretty vocal that he would not allow Mbappe in the dressing room because it breaks the weight structure, then there's ego clashes and everything like that. Just quickly, to summarize, do you agree with him on that?
Yeah, of course. Because, of course.
He said quickly.
Quickly. 3-1. Yes, of
Mbappe,
course.
Liverpool, no way. बाकी सब छोड़ ही दे.
भाई I can't see Dallo against Mbappe. भाई वो चड्डी उतार के जाएगा वो. So because Mbappe is that kind of character.
Van Bissaka already pocketed him once. But
yeah, of course. There was a certain nuance away with him.
Okay.
But Mbappe is that type of a character, man. Because I would seriously like him to go to Real Madrid, because
I think that's where he'll eventually end up.
I mean, this seems like a stunt where he wants more money, then he wants Real Madrid to cave.
Yeah.
So he's like, अच्छा मैं Liverpool जा रहा हूँ, मैं Chelsea जा रहा हूँ, मैं इधर जा रहा हूँ, मैं उधर जा रहा हूँ. So this all seems like a tactic, and I mean, who knows? He might stay at PSG.
I don't think. But anyway,
Who knows?
I think he'll
Like
go.
Al Khalifi has been very
he
dicey with his comments of what he's been talking about in the press conferences.
he said they have a gentleman's agreement.
Oh
to
yeah,
them.
yeah. He won't do anything against PSG. So he's said stuff like that.
We'll
So
have to see.
I don't know what will happen, but I would like to see him to move to Real Madrid because Don Carlo is someone you don't mess with. So that ego will be curbed if he's working under Ancelotti. And yeah, I think he'll go to Real Madrid, man. There's no Liverpool. They don't have the money.
So next we'll move on to the defending champions in Manchester City. When Aditya, just quickly to wrap up on City, I think we are all in agreement
Yeah.
over here that I don't think they need to do much because
Yeah.
they have players coming in from injuries who would potentially be like new signings.
Yeah.
They don't need to add, right?
Yeah, no,
Definitely.
I don't think like the only position that they may need some cover in is that the Rodri role. Where,
Calvin Phillips
potentially
leaving.
He's probably leaving. So that's the only position I see them maybe needing cover, but I don't know.
Pep can even get away with playing Bernardo Silva as a defensive midfielder.
Yeah,
so.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ वो ऐसा फॉर्मेशन लेके आएगा जिसमें डीएम ही नहीं है. उसने
done that.
बंदे ने राइट बैक निकाल दिया है, उसका भरोसा नहीं, डीएम निकाल देगा वो.
playing Ederson over there.
एडरसन खेलेगा उधर. बाकी 10 रन आगे भागो.
Walker पीछे. Walker decoy goalkeeper. Something like that he'll do.
Yeah, and it is Pep, so he's very capable of changing the system. And I mean, I've read books about his first season at Bayern, where it's mentioned that he has ideas in the pipeline for to reveal at the right time. This seems to be the right time to reveal one of his new ideas, where if Rodrigo goes out again, they can change the system and then they can adapt to it. And Pep's one of the most tactically astute managers in the world, and he's the most adaptable manager in the world probably. So I don't think they really it's the only position I think they might, but I don't think they absolutely need to buy anyone
Quickly.
Nah, nothing. They're covered, man.
They're good to go.
Yeah.
They're good to
They're
go.
good to go on a 10-game run.
Yeah,
They're gonna go on a 10-game run.
De Bruyne and Haaland are
Seriously.
coming back.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, they've recuperated. Really
Or
well.
Haaland is back in training.
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
training mildly. Hopefully, I don't think he should be back for this week, but next week for all the people who are concerned with the FPL teams. We move on to the next team, and the last team we are covering is Chelsea. I saw you yawn a lot.
Please, this reaction was to be shown.
It was a tough night yesterday for them.
Yeah.
What do you think they need to do to get over this slump? There is one obvious issue which is glaringly visible.
You're talking about the striker, aren't you?
I don't know. I know what I think, but what do you think?
It's a London problem.
Spurs seem to be fine, but I honestly think we shouldn't do anything. I mean,
That's really shocking.
yeah, I know a lot of people are talking about the striker thing, but I think this side needs to be given time because of the amount of injuries that we've suffered, and we haven't had the time to get cohesion in the side. Plus, you're talking about really young footballers here, like in Broya and Jackson, who do need to be so there's a lot of impatience in Chelsea fans because we're just used to winning for a while under Abramovich. So a rebuild is not something that's been, that's happened in recent times. But I think this is a rebuild. Pochettino said our reality is mid-table for now. And also we need to be patient with the players that we have because they're young players. They will learn from these experiences and they will grow. That said, one potential issue that is coming up is left back because Kukureya is injured. Chilwell is a bit unreliable.
Yeah.
And we're seeing Colwell play.
Chilwell's injured as well. Though,
He's coming back. He's back in training now. But yeah, he spent the first pretty much the entirety of the first
and you
half.
never know when he'll go back.
Exactly.
वापस जाएगा, एक game खेलेगा, वापस जाएगा.
That's the issue. That fullbacks are starting choice fullbacks basically. Thankfully, we have Gusto on the right who's
Been consistent.
Yeah, exactly. But on the left, Kukureya is also injured because he was Chilwell's cover. and Maatsen
Is
seems to be
gone on loan.
He's
Yeah,
done. The deal's done.
the deal's
Yeah.
done to Dortmund.
Surprisingly, you all left Lewis Hall, but
Yeah, it's very it's like
Chelsea leaving their youth prospects.
That's again-
Livramento was another one.
Yeah.
I just don't
Both to
understand.
Newcastle. Hall and
Yeah,
Livramento.
exactly. It's really, I don't know how Chelsea have at one time had one of the best youth teams. So many of their players have left, which they could have been such good additions to your team right now, especially in the fullback area.
Yeah, of course. And like, I mean, if you want to believe rumors, Gallagher's next of the academy guys to leave. But as Raghav mentioned, they're like the academy products are like pure profit. So
Yeah.
that's probably
balance the books.
Yeah, exactly. We spent more than $1 billion under Boli and Ekbali and Clear Lake. So,
But
I think
Just to like say what so you were pretty vocal about Arsenal saying that they need Tony,
yeah.
right? Because you need someone to finish off those chances. So like, why do you think in comparison Chelsea don't need that player at the moment? Because Chelsea's XG is pretty high as well,
Yes,
right?
But
And they are not able to finish chances.
yeah, the reason
And
I say
who do they
that,
have? Sorry, who do they have right now to like come in and boost that shot conversion rate? So definitely they do. If Arsenal need a central forward to like boost their hopes of winning the title, Chelsea also need a centre forward to boost their hopes of potentially getting a Europa League spot.
I think
Top off.
it's top half ho jayega. I hope.
See, that's what I was counting on.
Yeah, so it's because where Arsenal are and where we are at the moment. Arsenal, if they want to challenge for the title, they need a striker. For us, we are where Arsenal were 2 years ago. So for us, I think, given what we have, I think we need to. There's no point in spending big again on like a striker to, because we have 2 strikers already, and now Nkunku coming back. We saw glimpses, and what I saw, I really liked because he does change the dynamic of the team. I don't see the need to like go big on an Osimhen. I'd rather personally spend a bit on a left back, or at least get a short-term replacement for left back, because right now we are very open, and I don't like seeing Colville playing there because he's one of the best.
Attacking wise,
No,
Chelsea get limited over
exactly, and even defensively, he's like, so he can be exploited with pace. And regardless of all that, Colville is one of the best left-sided centre backs in the world. Like probably one of the best too young alongside Guardiola. So why do you want to waste him at left back? I don't know. So that's why I think, if anything, a short-term solution at left back. I wouldn't like to see us splurge on a striker, but I mean, I would be mad to say no to Osimhen if that is what we end up doing.
because Chelsea being Chelsea could spun up a surprise and be like,
Yeah.
I don't know what the FFP scenario is, but they could definitely go
Yeah,
in and say,
they-
here's the release clause. Let's
Yeah.
do
They're probably
something
going to
now.
sell Gallagher to, well, I don't know, whoever. And
Because, last season also it was pretty unexpected with Chelsea. But yeah, that's how the January transfer window operates. There could be some deal which would be you'd be amazed that this is happening at the moment. But yeah, we will be here to cover the January transfer window for you, and we'll get you, and we will be discussing towards the end of the video the major deals that happen and the players that our clubs sign. With that, I think we've covered most of the top teams in the Premier League. So we'll take your leave and just do the usual: like, subscribe, and share. Follow us on our socials as well. And like I said, we'll be there to discuss every move, and we have the review for the game week coming as well. So stay tuned to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next video.